Let me tell you, there are nights you think you've seen it all in Beverly Hills glitz, drama, secrets behind every glass of champagne. But that night in the Blackwood mansion, man, if I live to be 100, I'll never forget the look on their faces when Victoria stepped into the ballroom, head held high, looking like a queen in a place that never meant for her to be anything more than a shadow. You ever witness a whole room try to swallow its own tongue? Yeah, that happened. The laughter started before she even reached the bottom of the marble staircase. Not the good kind, nothing sweet or welcoming, just that kind of snickering that cuts right through you, the kind that says, "How dare you think you belong here?" Richard Blackwood himself, full money, new attitude, was standing in the middle of his little kingdom, raising a glass, practically drooling for a show. "Well, would you look at that?" he whispered to his crowd, all smug. Our cleaning lady decided to accept her invitation. Not one of them thought Victoria had it in her. Hell, 2 days before, he'd made sure the invite was a joke-in delivered, dress code maximum elegance, like it was written in invisible ink. This is a trap. See, Victoria knew the game. She'd spent 2 years cleaning every inch of that house, invisible as dust, listening to these people trade lies like they were at a costume party. They never noticed her, not really not, until Richard got in his head to humiliate her in front of the whole Beverly Hills elite, social reporters included. The man literally placed bets with his wife that Victoria wouldn't dare show her face. $50, she walks in wearing something borrowed and runs out crying before dessert. Helena joked, swirling her wine like it was blood. What they didn't know, what nobody guessed, was that Victoria was born for rooms like this. Maybe not to clean them, but to haunt them, to remind people with money that not all ghosts stay hidden forever. Some storms you don't outrun. Sometimes you just learn to dance in the rain. So there she was, walking under those chandeliers, calm as a swan, letting their giggles roll off her like raindrops. Some women muttered, "Where'd she get that dress? Rent a couture?" But Victoria, she just smiled slow, measured, like she knew the punchline to a joke they hadn't even heard yet. "My God, she really showed up?" I heard one woman whisper. "Maybe she's here to pick up glasses?" The other snorted. "You know what I mean?" They couldn't imagine a world where she belonged. Richard strutted over, arrogant as ever, surrounded by his pack of billionaires. "Victoria, didn't expect you'd come," he said, voice dripping with condescension. When someone like you gets a chance to attend an event like this, she cut him off, eyes steady. "A person like me, Richard? Go on, finish your sentence." Just for a second, he faltered. Just for a second, you could feel the whole mood shift, like someone dropped a cube of ice down your shirt. But arrogance is stubborn. You know, someone who doesn't frequent places like this. Victoria didn't flinch. She just let out a little laugh, low and dangerous. "No, Richard, I feel exactly where I've always belonged." For a moment, silence, thick and uncomfortable, filled the room. I swear you could hear the hum of the lights. Then Richard tried to save face, called for everyone's attention, introduced Victoria as the special guest, laying it on so thick you could skate on it. Laughter rippled cruel, sharp. Cell phones came out, flashes going off like lightning. But Victoria didn't shrink. If anything, she looked taller, steadier, every inch the mystery they'd overlooked. Patricia Weston, queen bee of gossip, sidled up, smile like a razor. "Victoria, honey, that dress, it must have been so hard to find something appropriate." Victoria's answer was soft, but her words hit like a sledgehammer. "This dress belonged to my mother. She wore it the last time she was in a ballroom like this, 20 years ago when she was still Victoria Temps Blackwood." You could feel the shock crack the air. Richard stopped cold. "Excuse me," he stammered. Victoria's gaze was unblinking. Funny how some folks forget their own family history. You want to see a man go from king to cornered animal in 60 seconds? Watch Richard Blackwood realize the past he buried is about to climb out of the ground. "You're delusional," he sputtered. But she wasn't backing down. Not with the whole room watching, not now. She reached into her purse, pulled out a ring of family ring, the Blackwood sapphire that was supposed to go to the rightful heir. "My grandfather gave this to my mother," she said, holding it high for everyone to see. "Your father, Henry Blackwood, told you he died without an heir? He lied. I am his daughter. There were gasps, whispers, some folks backing away from Richard like he might be contagious. I'm not your cousin, Richard. I'm your half-sister, she declared, voice like steel. That was the twist that flipped the whole story on its head. Suddenly, it wasn't about a cleaning lady anymore. It was about blood, about inheritance, about how far some people will go to erase a past that doesn't fit their fantasy. Then the cavalry arrived literally. Diane Morrison, the toughest investigative journalist in the city, stormed in with an attorney and the family's old physician. One after another, secrets fell like dominoes. Forged death certificates, arsenic in the blood, will change days before Henry Blackwood's mysterious death. Victoria didn't even blink when Dr. Hamilton confessed, hands trembling, that he'd been forced to cover up the murder. Richard killed our father, Victoria said quietly, tears glistening in her eyes, but voice unshaken. And then he took everything. You know, I always thought scandals were just gossip with fancier clothes. That night, I learned the truth. There's slow-motion car wrecks with everyone rubbernecking. Evidence flashed up on the projection screen wire transfers, phone recordings, emails. Diane narrated the destruction of Richard's empire, each piece of proof chipping away at the legend of the untouchable billionaire. Richard tried to protest, voice cracking, sweat pouring down his face, but he was finished. You could see in the way his friends melted away, how even his wife, Helena, put a gulf of marble between them. Victoria kept her head. Justice isn't about revenge, Richard, she told him, voice calm as the eye of a hurricane. It's about consequences. You stole everything from me. Now you're going to pay. And when the cops showed up, sirens wailing, blue lights spinning through the windows, nobody cheered, nobody laughed. There was just this awe, this silent reckoning that maybe, for once, justice was being served in real time. Helena sobbed in the corner, their children's voices echoing through her phone. Mom, is it true? The truth hurts, especially when it's public. Victoria walked outside onto the balcony as Richard was led away in cuffs, cameras flashing, reporters screaming questions, the whole city ready to feast on the spectacle. Helena joined her, voice trembling. I never knew, she whispered. Victoria just looked at the lights of Beverly Hills and said, Now you do. Maybe it's time this city remembered that class has nothing to do with money. Months passed, and the story only grew. Richard got 25 years, his fortune split, his name now a warning. Victoria rebuilt the company not as a monument to ego, but as a place where the janitor could become an executive, where people mattered. She gave scholarships to employees' kids, created programs for victims of abuse, hired back people Richard had fired. Dr. Hamilton ran free health clinics. Even Helena, after divorcing Richard, came to thank Victoria for protecting her children. Funny thing, Patricia Weston and her snobby crew tried to cozy up to Victoria after everything, but she kept her distance. You laughed at me when I was invisible. Now you want to stand beside me, she said, not angry, just honest. Victoria's story hit the news, talk shows, even Forbes. When a reporter asked if she thought what she'd done was too cruel, Victoria just shrugged. Revenge is getting even. Justice is making sure nobody else gets hurt. There's a difference. And if you ask me, that's what made this whole wild, ugly, beautiful mess mean something. Not just the downfall of a bad man, but the rise of a good woman who refused to let other people define her worth. That last night, Victoria sat in her own office, no longer a stranger, no longer a secret watching the city sparkle. She had adopted 2 girls who needed a second chance, built a company people were proud to work for, and finally felt at home in a world that once tried to shut her out. Richard tried to humiliate a cleaning lady and ended up exposing himself for what he truly was. So, you tell me, is it justice, revenge, or something in between? Where's the line between punishment and redemption, between family loyalty and community good? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Was Victoria right to expose everything, or did she go too far? Drop your comments below because in the end, the real power belongs to those who refuse to stay silent.
Xin chào các bạn, mình là Trinh, mình phụ trách viết content. Trên đây là những công việc của mình là mình lên mạng xã hội tìm hiểu những video.
Next one? Alright. Thank you, man. Hey, if you guys have any trouble, let somebody know. Please.
After the tree to hold on to.
Yeah, they're